Hi, welcome to the ISTE 22 Librarians Preview Show. We are going to be talking about some of our favorite sessions today, and we're also going to be taking a preview look at the playground. So we're so excited that y'all are joining us either live or after the fact, watching this video as it was recorded. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to introduce our hosts for this show, who so graciously offered their time after I emailed them 50 times asking them to do this. So we're very grateful for that. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Diana.
Okay, hi. So I'm Diana Randina. I guess I'm the first person doing this, so I have to figure out what my introduction is. So I'm the librarian at Tampa Preparatory School in Tampa, Florida. And this is like my fifth, sixth ISTE, something like that. I've kind of lost count after a bit, but I'm really excited to be back at ISTE again and back to in-person because it's been like years since I've seen everyone. So
yeah, so let's make that the question. You answer how many times you've been to an ISTE, because remember we never decided. Let's make that the question. All right, Andy.
Hi, I am Andy Clemens. I am the school library media specialist at David C. Barrow Elementary in Athens, Georgia, and I'm going into year 22 in education, and this is my second ISTE. I think the last one I attended was back in 2015, maybe, in Atlanta. It was whenever ISTE was in Atlanta. It was my first ISTE conference, so I'm excited to be coming back and really excited to be at my first in-person conference since the pandemic and getting to see lots of people who I haven't seen in a really long time.
Like me.
Yes.
All right, Megan.
Hey everyone, I am Megan Ford. I am a Georgia librarian as well. I am in Johns Creek, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta a little bit. This is actually my first ISTE, so I'm like a little bit overwhelmed, but also very, very excited. I have no idea how to choose what sections to go to because there's 50 trillion and all the things I want to learn. This is my, I gotta think, upcoming seventh year as a librarian.
Nice. All right, and Amy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amy Herman, and I'm a high school librarian. I live and work in Metro Detroit, and I'm also the podcast host of School Librarians United. And this is my second ISTE. My first ISTE was 2019, and I knew no one. I came by myself. It was a sad thing. ISTE was my birthday present to myself because my district wouldn't pay for it. Thankfully, I'm at a new district and they pay for it. So super excited to be here. I've had one under my belt and I think that makes me an expert. But I'll tell you what, I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. This is my 15th year of being a school librarian.
Nice. All right, and I'm Nancy Joe Lambert. My picture's not on here because I didn't have room. A little bit. I'm Nancy Joe Lambert. I was the last Librarians Professional Learning Network president, and I'm also one of the ISTE community leaders right now. And so that's how, and I'm also one of the organizers for the playground along with James Allen. And so we are organizing the playground for ISTE 22. So this is I think it's either my fifth or my sixth ISTE, but it's only going to be my third or fourth in-person ISTE. So I'm really, really excited that we're all going to be back together this year. I've been to 3 conferences prior to this since the shutdown. So 3 conferences this last school year, which seems like a lot when you think of it, but it doesn't feel like that much because I go to so many conferences. But I'm really, really excited about this particular year because we are going to be in New Orleans, the Big Easy, and I love, love, love going to New Orleans. The city is so rich with history and it just has its own vibe. The moment you kind of get off the plane and walk out of the airport, like there's just a vibe around New Orleans that I just really, really enjoy. So we're excited to be there. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off, and we are going to look at some of the session picks. And if you have a session pick that you want to send to us, you can email me, nancyjoelambert@gmail.com, and you can email me the sessions that you're excited about, and we'll add it to our list here. And if you're presenting a session and you're a librarian, by all means, definitely send us your sessions so we can add it. All right, so these are some of our session picks. What do y'all think, show folks? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about Amanda Jones' poster session. I'm definitely going to that. And I have helping LGBT folks thrive in education spaces already favorited when I was going through my list last night. So I'm pretty excited about those.
Well, I organized that panel, the Helping LGBTQ folks thrive in education spaces. So I'm really excited about that because I have one of my former students who was the president of our GSA, our Gender and Sexuality Alliance. They graduated this last year, so they're going to be on the panel with us. And then we have another fellow educator, and then or two other fellow educators, and then another fellow educator that's now gone to work for a vendor. And then we have a great moderator as well, Kimberly Wright. So all of these folks are in the LGBTQ community, and so we're very, very, very excited to present this panel at ISTE. So I'll just give you a little preview there.
Hey, Nancy Jo, could you put the bit.ly back on the screen before you scroll down for this?
Oh, well, we'll give it at the end.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so we're gonna give them the entire packet of resources at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then also at the end of the next show.
So Megan, I didn't realize that you were presenting that Empowering Student Agency and Makerspaces one with Martha, but that's one that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. And Martha's daughter Izzy is coming, and she is going to be our student presenter. So we're super excited about that. She's going to talk about how Makerspaces have impacted like her as a student, and we're really, really excited. I think it's going to be awesome.
That sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can do it. Oh, no, that's not the one I want. I was going to say, oh, there we go. There. I knew I could make it all one page.
Well, I'm sure that Nancy Jo is going to mention it, but I'm excited about the Fight for Inclusive Libraries session. That's been such a big topic that whether we have been directly involved in that work this year or just reading about it in the anticipation of something that might happen in our spaces, I think it's a really important topic for librarians to attend and think about, or send somebody to the session and get notes from them as well. Like Megan mentioned earlier, I have so many sessions marked at the exact same time that I'm really hoping that we get someone to share notes from each of the sessions, because I also want to go to your session about the student run Makerspaces. I am really big on student voice and students being a part of their library, and Makerspaces and libraries together are really, it's a great thing, but it's also hard to run everything. And so seeing how students can be a part of that, I think is really important.
So I will say that when Becky and Carolyn and I present, and we've presented a bunch, it hasn't even been a full year. We've been doing this, but we always tell librarians, it's not if, it's when. You will have a challenge, because that is just the political climate that we're in right now, and it's not an if, it's a when. So we hope some people come to that. I think the times for this are wrong because they double booked me, and then anyways, so I think that I need to correct the times. But yeah, Andy, you brought up a really good point about the collaborative notes. So I will add to so all the slides that we're working from for this show, including a link to this document and a link to the playground schedule and all of that stuff will be in one slide deck. And I will also link in there some collaborative notes. So I will say that the last 2 ASLs that I've been to, I've shared a collaborative notes document where anyone can edit it. And we've had, it gets to like 50, 60 pages long because everybody puts their notes from every session in there. And it's so helpful afterwards because you have this 50-page document with links to all the sessions, links to resources, stuff to look at for later too. So I will add that to the giant packet of the slide deck that has all the resources on it, because that was a great idea, Andy.
Well, I think Andy brings up a really good point about having so many things that are happening simultaneously, because I have benefited firsthand from the curation tool that Nancy Joe has created. And for me, because I think my first response was, oh, I can't be everywhere at all times. Newsflash, and we'll talk about this more in our next session. Physically getting from one session to the next session in a conference this size is not like your state conference where you're just down the hall. And so, no, I appreciate it. That's going to come in handy when so many things are happening at the same time. We'd really like to be able to just gather all those resources. And thankfully, librarians are naturally sharers, and we always make sure that we put all those things together. I think, I'll be honest, I went to go sign up for some sessions and they're already full. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that to somebody who's never been before may cause some angst, but the fact is that school librarians, whenever we attend these sessions, we put them in a curation tool like Nancy Joe's. And so while we may not have seen the session, we're going to benefit from all the shared resources, and librarians are amazingly generous about giving us everything we need to at least get started in whatever undertaking it is.
And we'll be sure and tweet out that collaborative document. I'll schedule some tweets to go out several times a day, every day, so we can hopefully catch folks at the conference who may not know, or, as you're out and about with other librarians and stuff in the conference, be sure and be like, hey, did you hear about the collaborative notes document? Because we want you to add to it.
Well, and for me, I myself, I'm a huge fan of the sort of poster sessions and the playground, and not just the library poster session or the library playground, but everybody's playground. I think it's easy to get overwhelmed and feel bombarded with a lot when you go to these conferences. And the nice thing about going to a playground or a poster session is you can literally take that step back and peruse, walk around, and take a look at the things that are being offered by all the different interest groups, and go in for a couple questions if you have them, or if you're like, oh, that's really not something I'm interested in, but you'll be pleasantly surprised. But so for me, I really find the playgrounds and the poster sessions incredibly helpful, because it really does give me a sense that I have some control over the space when there's so much going on at once. Mm-hmm. And it really does work for me.
Awesome. And that leads us right into, let's go ahead and look at the playground. So this slide deck that I'm putting on the screen right now with the link to those session pics, this preview show will be embedded there. The YouTube will be embedded there. This is the slide deck that we will put the collaborative notes on as well. And also in there is the playground. We're so excited, everybody. Whoa. Okay. I'm not sure why we have the date in there twice, just to make sure you know when the date is. June 28th. So this is going to be Tuesday of conference. We're going to be 11:30 to 1:30. That's 11:30 to 1:30 local time, so central time. I know people are coming from lots of different time zones, so just know that when you're looking at all of our times and things on all of this, it's all central time. So it'll be the local time there, so you don't have to do any time adjustments. So how the playground works is we have essentially 3 groups of sessions and presenters. And so the first group of presenters are going to be presenting from 11:30 to 12:05. And these are some of the sessions. And then you'll notice from the ISTE Lib account, we've been tweeting out each presenter had the opportunity to go in and make like a promo advertisement slide for their session. And so we're tweeting those out out from the ISTE Lib account, the old ISTE Lib account, but we're using it anyways because we can. So these are some of the first sessions. So anybody excited about anything in here you want to?
I'm going to give a shout out for Do Your Best with Your Bestie because
that's the one. Oh yeah.
Okay, let me tell you, Martha and I are so extra. It is Lisa Frank themed because
it's Lisa Frank themed.
Yeah, yes.
I love Lisa Frank.
We have crafts and giveaways, and it's just going to be ridiculous. So y'all should come hang out with us because that's our jam.
And I'm going to give a shout out to Dr. Desiree Alexander, who's doing the digital breakouts using Google Forms and Google Sites. She is amazing, and I've seen her present at 2 or 3 conferences now. And so this is going to be really, really good. And I know that I've used some digital breakouts with my DLC in my library, and they're super easy, and they're super fun, but they're super easy to sort of put together. So I'm excited about that one.
I love digital breakouts. We use them a ton at our school, and it has become the treat the kids get. So they get to come to the library and do a digital breakout, and the kids go nuts for it. So definitely check that out.
So I don't really know the content of the session, but I'm intrigued by the as a school board member advice and tools to help with book challenges and more, because the title just makes me think of something that happened in my district where a book was not officially challenged, but it started with school board members and with the superintendent. And we realized very quickly that our district level didn't know the correct procedures for doing a book challenge.
They often don't.
And so this was before, all of this buzz has happened over the past year or two. But it helped us to really start thinking about, as librarians, what we need to do to support our school board and our district level to understand the correct procedures. So I think that if that's what the content of that is, or regardless, you can probably see that one of my big goals and a focus in this this time at ISTE is going to be around this idea of intellectual freedom and equity and inclusion. So any session that has something to do with that and helping me feel more equipped with handling topics that I don't even know the right word, topics that are controversial for various people, I guess. That's what I'm looking for the most while I'm at ISTE.
Well, when your very being is controversial, you kind of figure out real quick how to handle that. But that's for the social. We'll talk about that later.
Hey, Nancy Joe.
Yeah.
Alyssa Malaspina got a full-page write-up in this year's Library Journal, Movers and Shakers, for this, being on a school board and being able to be the speaker on behalf of being a school librarian and being able to be on a school board and have that vantage point of being able, so it was very, very prominent in the explanation and the write-up for her in Library Journal for Mover and Shaker this year.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Now that I see that that's Alyssa, definitely go to that. Definitely go to that table.
I know. I
She's
should have been clicking through these earlier, but alas, I did not. So here we go. We're going to click through them now. So I'm always interested in people who are presenting about coding because I feel like that's such an awesome program to offer. You know, I offered it back when I was in elementary and then high school too. And then I've never heard of Wixie, so I'm interested to learn a little bit about this. I know I love, but I mean, who doesn't love a good book trailer, especially when I don't have to make it. And then this is the digital breakouts with Dr. Desiree Alexander that I talked about earlier. See, I should have been clicking through these, but here we go. Oh, and there's the Freedom Voters one. That's going to be me and Becky presenting that one. Here's the do your best with your bestie, building a culture of collaboration. I love the Bitmoji because it definitely harkens to your Lisa Frank. So awesome. Yeah. Oh, and look, there's Andy. He's going to be doing student collection development in a digital world. Look at there. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Well, one of my big projects each year is a student book budget where kids get to decide on new books for the library. But during the pandemic, I had to make a big shift to figuring out how to do that same project in a virtual way. And so I'm going to be sharing about the project, but also ways that it can also be done virtually.
I've heard you present a little bit about this before the virtual era, so I'm excited to hear how you've changed it up for that virtual environment. Oh, and I love Christina Holtzweiss, and she did this toolkit that was crowdsourced, and it is just jam-packed with tools and resources and advice and all kinds of stuff. So if you haven't seen Christina present about this in person, and you're going to be at ISTE, hit this one up. This is going to be better.
Hey, Nancy Joe, can I say a little bit about this one?
Yes.
I did not contribute, but you know, it is.
I didn't either.
It does, I can't take any credit. But what I find wonderful about the compilation is that it really is, I dare I say, sort of a Bible of school library resources at your fingertips. I have this bookmarked. And when on my toolbar, I have bookmarks and I have folders and drop downs, and it was in last week's episode. But it was very fun because this particular resource, for me, I feel like it is sort of a living textbook because it has the most current, contributions that really provide school librarians with the kinds of supports that speak directly to the issues that we have in our spaces. And so, and also as somebody who's had to provide a weekly newsletter to my staff, even though they don't read it,
Hashtag facts.
It's one of those things I'm hoping to fix with the hiring of a new principal. But anyway, not the weekly thing, but the fact that it's nobody reads it. And but point is, it's a fantastic resource. I have bookmarked on my toolbar and I reference it all the time because we trust resources that have been compiled by school librarians. We're very picky people. We are the pickiest of people, and we aren't going to assault people with information unnecessarily. We use that curation skill that we all have, that's right there first and foremost before we start sharing out with people, especially when it comes to things like conferences. We're going to look at this curation tool. We'll look at Nancy Joe's curation tool, and then what we bring back and how we sort of share that out is going to be selective so that it's meaningful to our recipients.
Well done, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to move into the second time slot, which is 12:10 to 12:50. And here's just a brief overview, but let's go through the other slides this time instead of doing it from here. I messed that up before, but y'all just went with it. You were great.
This looks really the only problem with the playground is there's so many good sessions all happening at the same time, and then when you're presenting, it's like you're seeing people on the other side that you want to go watch, and you can't.
So one thing I always recommend playground presenters to do, and I should put this in an email to all the presenters, is go ahead and record yourself presenting your thing and offer it, have it there like on a QR code on one of your slides at the station or on your, wherever. But that way, if people want to hit more than one, because that is, I mean, we have people who will just go ding to ding to ding from table to table to table and hit every single one. And so if you have your full presentation pre-recorded and can offer that to people who are there, it's really helpful, because then they get, and then those the people who are presenting are running around checking on everybody and being tech support, can then benefit from all those. And the thing is, we will, when I'm touching my screen, you can't see me doing it, but when we we'll have all the presenters link those. If you have it videoed, we'll ask you to link the video to your presentation to these slides. And then if you don't have it videoed, then we'll ask you to link your slides. So that way we'll have this whole thing will then be in that other giant resource slide deck. And so everybody will have every link to every presentation, because we want the people not at ISTE, hashtag not at ISTE, to be able to benefit too. So it's just a really great way. So I will send an email to all the presenters saying, hey, if you can, record it. If you can't, that's okay. Don't stress out. It doesn't need to be stressful. And then either link your presentation or the recording or both on this slide deck. So
that's genius. Yes.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
I know. I try and be a genius at every turn,
Yeah. Well, it's so hard at the playground too, because it's a lot of people walking around, and it's hard to do a full presentation through all of your stuff, and when people are just kind of coming and going. So it's nice to have it all done in one package as a video, and then be able to just kind of have informal conversations with people.
Network and answer questions. I will say that I'm super excited for Amanda Jones. So she has been talking about this since the shutdown, and when we were all virtual, she's been presenting about the virtual reality like stuff that she does, the tours and stuff. So I'm really excited to get to, if hopefully she'll make a recording, or I'll get to at least stop by her station too.
And ISTE did a post on their page in their news section of the conference site I think it was back in December, just about the hot topics of ISTE for this year, and augmented reality, virtual, mixed reality. That was one of the big 10 topics of ISTE for this year.
So I know Chris Young. Andy, do you remember we were at ASL Louisville, I think? And we went to his session. He was doing one over podcasting.
Yes. It was so good.
I know. So Chris Young lives in Louisiana, I think maybe in New Orleans. And I met him at an ASL back in Phoenix because I was heckling James Allen, who was presenting at that one. And he was in the audience, and he kept giving me these like death stares. And finally I was like, listen, I know him. It's fine. So we've been friends ever since. So now I show up to all of his sessions to heckle him. But anyways, I'm excited about this because I know that a lot of schools are moving to that instructional coach model, that PLC, that whole, data-driven stuff that they're doing. So I'm really excited to see how him and Kate Turnbull, who I don't know, but I'm excited to meet, present this at the playground.
And something just in general about the playground, I'm really excited, is if you guys see these names, a lot of these people are like people pushing the librarian game forward. And it's a lot of really, really awesome rock star librarians in one place. So I think this is a awesome opportunity to just kind of get to chat and meet and connect with a lot of those people.
Absolutely. It's an amazing networking opportunity. You make a really great point, Megan.
Well, and what Megan said, I mean, we recognize these names on library Twitter. I'm like, oh no, I recognize you on library Twitter. I've just never met you in person.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where all those conversations, we'll talk about this in the next session, but all the conversations that we'll have an opportunity to have while face-to-face sort of help you build that virtual PLN. Because now, I mean, you may have met that person. I met Amanda Jones at ISTE 19, and I think we spoke for about it is so funny when you meet somebody, you talk to them about 10 minutes. We've been like texting buddies ever since. And so honestly, you know, just that real brief face-to-face means I can now call you and we can now connect when we need to professionally, but also just be that virtual PLN.
Well, most of us are singletons in our schools and in our libraries. And so, you know, when we get together like this, and especially like you said, Amy, when we're able to connect in real life, there's just these like long formed, then, you know, collegial relationships that develop. I have that with hundreds of educators and librarians who I've met through all these conferences. So, including Sherry Gick. I met her at ASL in Columbus, I think. Yeah. But she now works for 5-Star something. And but she's also a Google for Education certified trainer and does all kinds of stuff with Google through her work at 5-Star. And so I'm excited to hear about her Google curriculum for all.
I'm really excited about this one. A big push for us has been like mental wellness and social emotional learning. It's also one of our school's goals. So I want to learn more about this and see how they're doing it online.
So true.
I will say we hosted the dogs this year and it was amazing. And
it's the best.
One of the best days in our Learning Commons ever. And so it is really fantastic. But anytime, you know, I'll say I'm a joiner. It's my first year in my school. And I tell people, yes is always the answer, which is great because that's not always what they're getting from everybody else. So when people come to me and say, oh, well, yes is the answer. And in this case, it was a bunch of dogs all day long. It was the most amazing experience. And so, yeah, oftentimes I have found, especially with social and emotional, because it's being led by our social worker, it's being led by our psychologist, by our team of counselors. A lot of times I was the joiner. I was just the host, the happy host who would make room and secure time in our Learning Commons to have these large gatherings and being just even tangentially supportive of these undertakings has been huge.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's us. Like, oh gosh, we're doing all the things. So this is going to be really awesome because we're going back to that makerspace piece and talking about how you can be more socially responsive, how you can build sustainability and empathy and perspective in your library. We're also making these cute little huggers. They're very adorable. For when you're stressed out, they're like little worry monsters. They're so adorable. So come hang out with us. I know Amy's laughing because she knows how extra me and Martha are. She's like, oh God.
I'm so excited. Anybody want to talk about this one?
See, I want to go to this one because I'm in a high school now. So I this is on my list to go see, but I am right now, I'd be coming in completely like, tell me everything I need to know.
So I love the part in the title of this one of building community because I feel like that's something missing from a lot of the makerspace. It's so much of the makerspace, and Diana's nodding her head, I know, because she can probably speak to this better than I can. But so many times the makerspace is about like the nitty gritty, like here are the things you need. Here's what you can do with the things. Here's the programming you can do. Like, but we don't always talk about how rich makerspace experiences are in that building of community amongst students and other stakeholders who are involved in that.
I'm excited about the staff piece of this because we do a lot of makerspace activities with our students, but not necessarily our staff. And I'm trying to get them more involved so that we can kind of move our makerspace into more of a collaborative effort where we're, you know, in putting it into the curriculum. And so I think this could be really interesting.
hope they share a recording.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got digital citizenship superpowers. Excited about that. I always like things about digital citizenship. I'm going to kind of move us through some of these. Oh, Diana, you want to talk about yours?
Sure. Yeah, so this one I'm excited about because it's like really focused. This past year, my 6th grade science teacher and I did like a year-long collaboration where we had 3 different projects throughout the year with her kids. So every single 6th grader got to see the Makerspace at some point in the year.
Nice.
And it was really fun because like each project was tied directly to her curriculum. And we kind of did it as a way to like show an example for the rest of the school of like, hey, like this is how this could tie in with what you're doing. And it's not like an extra thing. So I'm really excited to talk about that and just share kind of like what we did as a project and like ways you could replicate something at your school. It was really fun. And it was like one of my major goals because I'm at a 6 through 12 school. So like I want the kids to get to know me like as soon as they start. And to like get to know our library and our makerspace as a resource for them. And like that's been a really good like boost of engagement in the makerspace for our 6th graders. So it was really fun.
You'll have to make sure and record that one.
Yeah, I will definitely. I actually like made a note as we're like talking to record my sessions.
It's such a little thing, you know, but people don't always think of it. And then I'm like, then you can just chit chat and answer the questions and do the connecting, and then you have the video. I spend like my downtime days, my into bed days after I do a conference, just going through and looking at all the stuff that either I didn't get to or, you know, the stuff that I want to review. All right, this is our last group, and we have about 9 minutes left, attendees, before our hard stop, or our hosts, I mean, before our hard stop. So I love Ashley Cooksey. She's taken on a new role in Arkansas, I think at a university, but I love how she always seems to like connect these things that I would never think of. And so I love the title of this one, Picture Books and Problem Solving, the Coding Connection. Because I'm like, girl, how are you gonna tie picture books to coding and problem solving? Do tell. So I'm excited about that one.
Oh, I'm excited about anything with MergeCube because like many people, when MergeCubes were discounted, I bought a whole stockpile of them, and they're sitting in my Makerspace room, and I have used them, but I'm always looking for some new ideas. So go MergeCube.
Right? I feel like so many people have those stockpiled somewhere.
Yeah, and I like we've used CoSpaces at my school before, and we've used MergeCubes, but I've never like combine them as a book report tool. So that sounds pretty interesting.
I know. I love how librarians are so creative, and some of the things that they, you know, have, especially that have come out of the pandemic, things that librarians figured out they could do. I'm just like, how did you even think of that? I'm always amazed. Ooh, Amy, here you go.
Hey. So I can't pre-record mine, but I do have what I don't mention here, and I intentionally picked the last session of Playground because I'll just keep on going after Playground is over. Just sit there. I got my stuff. And what I have is I have some prompts, some questions that anybody is welcome
Look
to.
Look at you, so prepared.
Oh, it's fun. I stole this idea from some ed tech podcasters, but there's a whole bunch of prompts. And anybody walking by, I've got stickers and I've got badge ribbons. And if you'd like, you're more than welcome to introduce yourself. Where are you from? And then pick one of the prompts, or you can, sort of extemporaneously go for 2 minutes. And so the episode following the conference will be ISTE 2022. And it's funny because my ISTE 19 still gets downloads. I'm not sure why. It was really just me walking around kind of sad and talking about my first experience being at an ISTE conference. My biggest struggle was that I kept on calling it the Etsy, and it. I'm just being honest. You could tell I was new because it was Etsy 19, not the ISTE 19, and but it's fun because this is an opportunity for everybody to have their 2 minutes for the next episode, and hopefully get just sort of the podcasting bug, the interest to listen to the way we're able to share voices. And so while I am not being able to pre-record anything, I will record throughout the conference. So if there's anybody who would like to track me down and say, oh, well, now's a good time, I'll be like, okay, like here's
only if they call it Etsy though. I want everyone to call ISTE Etsy.
It's Etsy. I am, honest to God, I stumbled over for the longest time. You could totally tell I was a newbie. I had no idea what I was doing. But no, track me down. If you see me, I have the stickers, I have the badge ribbons, and I just put a little lavalier mic on you and press record, and you can just, have your say, and I give you some ideas, but you can certainly, there's no script. But it's a fun opportunity to just be able to gather as many school librarians and get their ideas.
I think I remember you doing that in Philly, but I don't think I got to be on it though.
I actually, Philly was a very humbling experience because I asked people to be on my podcast and they told me no.
Oh.
So, or I got oh, hey, I've got to go. I've got your card. Thanks.
Oh.
It's all right. I don't hold grudges.
Oh, you should know.
Oh, no, I actually do. No, you know what? Here's the thing. I can say this happily in season 4. I've been able to move on. But the really fun thing is my first season 2 was mostly people I had met at ISTE. Season 2, like the beginning of season 2, I had Joanne Boudreau and Amanda Jones really gave me some solid, I'm going to be, let's do this, Amy. And for me, that was very confidence building because I was brand new at it and the long form interview. So for me, ISTE 19 really was a game changer because I got to meet some people face to face who would become incredibly supportive in the future, especially during the pandemic.
Your podcast is an invaluable tool for professional librarianship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be an adjunct professor at the University of North Texas at the graduate level. Actually, starting in a couple of weeks, my first class, the one that I got to actually design, inclusive literature for children and youth. Anyways, your podcast is going to be one of the additional resources that I suggest to my pre-service public and school library students because, I mean, I feel like now you're very methodical about making sure that you cover lots of issues related to professional librarianship, particularly school librarianship. And not only are you covering so many of the things that are, the in practice portion, because when you're in library school, you're learning about the theory behind the practice. But then when you're doing it, it's like, what does it look like in practice? And I feel like your podcast has had some of the most important and resourceful information on it for school librarians. So,
well, free and customizable and convenient. And I know a couple districts that are using it for PD right now, especially in Texas. And her name is Nancy, and she's amazing. I'll talk about her more if I get a chance. But no, it's great also for PD because if districts especially want free PD, it's a really easy way to help support your librarians rather than bundling them in with another department, which happens all the time.
All right, so we have a couple minutes left. So we've got another one by Amanda Jones, Make Them Green with Envy, Green Screen Like a Pro. I feel like I always want to do green screen things, and then something always prevents us from actually making it a full reality. And I want to hear how she does that. And then this is my friend Jennifer Leboone. She is a former president of the Texas Library Association, and she's a school librarian and has been in Fort Worth ISD, but is now working for Bound to Stay Bound. But she's going to talk about formal and informal library leadership, how we as librarians can be leaders from within our role and within the work that we just do in our libraries, campus and district wide. So I'm really excited because she's been a library leader for one of the largest districts in the state of Texas, which, if you know anything about Texas, everything's bigger in Texas. So I'm really excited about hearing that from her. And then this is one of her Fort Worth librarians who I talked to last week, who's going to do Geek Out Your Library Assistant. So she has a super successful program that she runs where her kids are like tech support, and the library has so many things. So I think that anybody who is looking to do this, with their students in their libraries, and I know that so many of us are going one-to-one, or just the sheer amount of technology that we're having to navigate as school librarians. So I'm excited about this one. And then we have Making plus Reading adds a new look to STEAM. I always like it when people throw that A in there and they make it the STEAM instead of just STEM. Not that STEM is it. That came across wrong, but y'all know what I mean. And especially since we're libraries, and a lot of the focus of what we do is about nurturing readers. So I'm excited about this one. All right, so I'm going to flip back over here, and I'm just going to go back. So I want to say the link to this is going to be ISTE. It is. It's not going to be. It is ISTE 22 Lib Resources. So this is the link to this entire slide deck where the playgrounds are linked, the sessions are linked, this video will be linked, all the information for the entire conference, and we'll put the collaborative notes in here as well. I'll get that on there today. And then I don't know if this is going to happen. I want it to happen in my mind. It's happening, but Sunday, June 26th, which is the first day of the conference. Well, I think Saturday is technically, but I'm not going to be there Saturday. So Sunday is the first day for me. I would like to have just a meetup. And so I found this book themed bar in New Orleans. It's not far from the convention center. So I'm going to throw this out there into the universe. I will be there at 8:00 on Sunday, June 26th. If anybody wants to come hang out, I just want to throw this out there. All right. So we are at 2 minutes over our hard stop. Y'all have any final words before we go?
Look forward to seeing everybody. Come connect.
Absolutely. And if you're brand new, just stop us and just say, hey, you're a school librarian, because there are more than 10,000 people already, signed up to attend this conference. When we find us, it's very exciting. But we are a small but mighty interest group.
Yeah, and the thing I would emphasize too, especially for new people, is that it can be really intimidating when you meet these people that you follow on Twitter or social media. You're like, oh my God, I remember my first date, it was like, it's Jennifer Lagarde. Can I even say hello to her? And she's super nice. So I would just emphasize, go up and talk to people. Just because someone's really tweets a lot or does a lot on social media, we're all super nice and want to help each other. So,
or they may be a huge introvert like me, and so
yes.
It's nice when
I'm introverted.
It's nice when someone comes up and speaks to me, and I don't have to be the person that initiates the conversation. So I'm happy to talk to anyone.
I feel that so much. I'm like, should I talk to people?
Yes. I'm the complete opposite. I'm such an extrovert. I go up and talk to everybody. I'm usually dragging Andy around with me, being like, oh, let's go talk to this person.
Yeah, that's how I meet people. I just hang out with Nancy Joe.
Well, I'm having a fangirl moment with Andy, because he's been on my short list since season 2 for student choice and student voice. And I'll tell you what, I've never met you before, but I would love to talk with you.
Y'all come Sunday night. Let's all hang out.
Exactly.
I'm going to be there. If I'm the only one there, I'm going to be so sad.
No, Nancy, I
will be there.
talked to Amanda, and she's like, I don't think there's anything scheduled for school librarians right now. ISTE Lib doesn't have anything posted. So I'm glad you made the decision, and you're all set to go.
I'll tweet it out. Now, I will say I called the bar and asked them, and they were like, well, if you want to book it for more than 20 people, it's $75 a person. And I was like, what? No. So
just show
we're
up.
Yeah, we're just gonna show up and order drinks, and they don't have to know we're all together, that we're a party.
No,
We're just
never
friends
seen them
hanging
before in my
out.
life.
All right. Well, we will tweet out that social information as well as the link to this entire set of resources. We hope you'll join us in about 11 minutes when we start the conference tips webinar. And if you are watching this after the fact, thanks for watching anyways. And make sure you say hi to all of us when we're at ISTE soon. All right. Bye,
Bye, everybody.
Bye.